Step number 4, you want to test before you trust when it comes to large transfers. Blockchains are pretty unforgiving of typos. A single wrong character in a wallet address can send your funds into limbo forever, and there's no undo button. So whenever you're paying a brand new address and sending money to a new wallet that you've never interacted with before, start with a small test amount. Send a few dollars, wait for confirmation, verify that the recipient saw it and received it, and only after that should you then move the full balance. This 1-minute test is going to prevent the most expensive kind of mistake, the permanent kind. And by the way, you should probably do the same with PayPal, Zelle, and any other platforms you're already using to send your money around. Welcome back to another episode of Crypto Explained. I'm Allie, your crypto confidence coach, and today we're here to talk about security hygiene. These are simple steps to protect everything you do online, whether that's using your email, your Venmo, or your crypto. And actually, strong security habits matter offline too. Think about smoke alarms. You set them up, you maintain them, and they quietly work in the background to keep you safe. If they're used correctly, they also alert you to when something seems wrong. The habits we're going to talk about today aren't just for tech. They're the same common sense routines you use to lock your front door or click in your seatbelt. Crypto's no different. It's going to be a handful of repeatable routines that you set up once and will protect your digital assets over the long term. So in today's episode, we're going to walk you through those habits step by step, explain the why behind each one, and help you feel confident, not overwhelmed. Let's get right into it. Step number 1, lock down entry points. You're going to start with the accounts you visit every single day. You're going to turn on two-factor authentication, aka 2FA, for every single exchange, every single wallet, and every recovery email connected to your accounts. Two-factor authentication adds a secondary step at login so that a password alone isn't enough to get into your account. When you enable 2FA, you're going to choose an authenticator app like Google's Authenticator or Authy. These apps are going to generate a one-time-based code on your device that end up being a little bit safer than text messages because unfortunately text messages can be intercepted if someone tries to hijack your phone number. But if an authenticator app isn't available for any reason or you don't feel like getting one, a text message is still better than nothing. Some people even go a step further and create a separate email address just for their financial websites. The benefit of this is pretty simple. If a social media leak or random newsletter breach ever exposes your everyday email account, your finance-only email is going to remain private and protected. The goal of this entire segment today is to make it much harder for anyone to pretend to be you and walk through the front door of your accounts. Step number 2, check before you click. Phishing schemes are masters of disguise. They can clone a company's logo, copy the look of a support chat, or even register a domain name that differs by a single character and makes it so hard to tell that it's a fake website. Your best defense is to avoid the trap entirely. You want to bookmark official login pages for every single service you rely on, and then reach those services directly through your bookmarks, instead of clicking a link on an ad, an email, or a random message you get from an unknown number. Modern web browsers also flash warning signs when a site looks suspicious, but those alerts only work if you keep them turned on and if you actually pay attention to the address bar. So always just take 2 seconds before you type in a password or connect a wallet. Make sure you read that URL really carefully. And if anything looks off, you see an extra letter, a strange domain, an odd spelling, close the tab and try again from your bookmark. That tiny pause is often the difference between everything being all good and, oh shoot, I wish I hadn't clicked that. Step number 3, you want to keep your hot money and your cold money in the right places. Think of your crypto into kind of 2 buckets, spending money and saving money. A hot wallet is an app that connects to a browser extension that's connected to the internet and behaves just like a checking account. It's perfect for your smaller balances, your daily spending, quick transfers, small trades, or splitting dinner with a friend. But then for larger balances, consider cold storage. As you probably remember from our wallets episode, a cold wallet, aka a hardware wallet, is what keeps your private keys offline until you plug the device in and approve your transaction. Because it stays offline, it's going to be harder for attackers to reach. But if all of that feels like too much right now, that is totally okay. You can keep your crypto with a trusted exchange while you learn. And as long as you follow all the other safety steps in this episode, everything's going to be okay. Step number 4, you want to test before you trust when it comes to large transfers. Blockchains are pretty unforgiving of typos. A single wrong character in a wallet address can send your funds into limbo forever, and there's no undo button. So whenever you're paying a brand new address and sending money to a new wallet that you've never interacted with before, start with a small test amount. Send a few dollars, wait for confirmation, verify that the recipient saw it and received it, and only after that should you then move the full balance. This 1-minute test is going to prevent the most expensive kind of mistake, the permanent kind. And by the way, you should probably do the same with PayPal, Zelle, and any other platforms you're already using to send and move your money around. Step 5, keep software and firmware current. Updates exist to protect you. Phone manufacturers patch security holes, wallet apps harden their defenses, and hardware wallets release firmware updates that are going to block new attack techniques. So set your laptop and phone up to install automatic updates on these sites overnight so that they never fall behind. Every few weeks, plug your hardware wallet into its dashboard and check for any firmware updates. And while you're at it, remove any browser extensions that you no longer need, because abandoned extensions can sometimes get repurposed by attackers. You also want to close out your extra tabs before you make a transfer. Certainly avoid using public Wi-Fi when you're accessing your crypto. Healthy devices mean healthy wallets. Step number 6, guard your keys and your phrases. Your password, your PIN, your private key, your seed phrase, all of these together are the combination that unlocks your digital assets. You want to treat them like the most important documents you own. You never want to store your private key or seed phrase in a cloud drive, an email draft, or a phone screenshot, anything that lives online or in the cloud. If you want a digital backup, use encrypted storage on a device that never connects to the internet. But the best practice is still to write it on a piece of paper with a pen and store it safely. You want to keep your antivirus tools active, and you also want to be really intentional about the environment you're in when you transact, like we talked about. You don't want to do this at public places. You want to close your unrelated tabs, and you want to focus on one transfer at a time. And remember this golden rule: if anyone claiming to be here to support you is asking for your key or your seed phrase, end the conversation immediately. Legitimate companies are never going to request those secrets from you, no matter how realistic a chatbot may look on a website. Step number 7 is you want to stay skeptical to anything that's too good to be true. Scammers reuse the same tactics in crypto that they use in traditional finance fraud: urgency and guarantees. You might see offers for double-digit weekly yields, emergency warnings that your wallet's going to freeze unless you act right now, or promises to recover lost or previously stolen funds. Your response, like we just talked about, is to slow down. Open a new browser tab, navigate to the official site through your bookmark, and check whether or not the message is real. Remember, genuine opportunities are patient. Fake ones evaporate the moment you try to verify them. And last but not least, step number 8, review activity regularly. You're already probably checking your bank statements to catch fraud early, and you should do the same with crypto. Glance through your wallet history every week so that any unusual activity stands out. Leave on your push notifications for outgoing transactions so that you get an alert the moment funds move out of your account. And if anything ever feels off, don't panic. Just move your assets to a fresh wallet that you are fully in control of, and then you can take your time to figure out what's going on with your other wallet that you think might be compromised. The bottom line is that crypto's freedom comes with greater responsibility, but that doesn't mean that you need a computer science degree to manage your coins. Just remember, enable two-factor authentication, bookmark official websites, split your holdings between hot and cold storage or use a trusted exchange to help you with that. Keep all of your recovery phrases offline. Test a small amount before sending big. These are the common practices that you already use every day. Now they play an even more important role in protecting your digital assets. But by making this a part of your everyday crypto hygiene routine, you're going to stay confident and fully in control. So before we wrap, let's quickly define a few of the terms we use today so everything feels crystal clear in our usual jargon breakdown segment. The first is two-factor authentication, or 2FA. Again, this is that second step at login that requires a temporary code from an app or a text so that a password alone isn't enough to get into your account. The next is hot wallet. And again, as you know from our wallet episode, this is a software wallet that stays online and is really great for small everyday balances or quick transfers. But a cold wallet, or a hardware wallet, is a physical device that keeps your private keys fully offline and is really great for larger balances or long-term savings. And then, of course, you've got your private key, which is that secret code that proves that the crypto at a certain address really belongs to the holder at that address. You never want to share this. just like with your seed phrase or your recovery phrase, which is that 12 or 24 word backup that can recreate your wallet if you ever lose a device or forget your PIN. You always want to write that phrase down and store it safely offline with pen and paper. Phishing is a fake website, message, or support chat that imitates a real-world service to trick you into entering your passwords or connecting to your wallet. Phishing scams have been around since the dawn of the internet, and they happen just as much with other financial tools as they do with crypto. So you always want to follow this advice, regardless of whether you're dealing with, again, your crypto account or your bank account. There you have it. 8 healthy habits to keep your crypto safe and secure. And feel free to share this episode with anyone in your life who may be curious to try crypto but isn't sure how to safely store it. I'm Allie, your crypto confidence coach. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of Crypto Explained.